What's good, everybody? It's your boy natedizzy, and in today's video I'm going to give you 5 tips for fighting from the turtle in Fortnite. Now these are going to help you no matter what skill level you're at, but it just depends on how you look at the game. There might be something here for even the most advanced player to think of, because you might get an idea of what maybe a just above average player would be thinking, trying to do in the moment. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about, very simple, any advanced player will know this, and it only applies to mouse and keyboard, so bear with me if you are not mouse and keyboard. If you are a controller player, there is still going to be some stuff here for you. Just give it a minute, because the next tip will be applicable and so will the rest. But this one is for mouse and keys, as I said, and all you're going to do is come down to building edit, and you're going to bind your secondary building edit to mouse wheel down, as well as your reset building edit to mouse wheel down. And you can also use mouse wheel up, but basically when you use a mouse wheel for this reason, basically you can undo edits at the flick of a mouse wheel. All I'm doing is this. What this is doing is starting an edit and then resetting the edit with each roll of the mouse wheel. This doesn't work for whatever reason on like say you wanted to confirm, like roll forward to open an edit like this. You can't actually do that. I've tried it before, but you can use it to reset edits. This is really useful when you're turtling and you have to get through and quickly just flip around. That way you don't have to do it the traditional way. You still will want to be able to do it the traditional way, because there's certain situations where that's the only way or the best way to do it, but this is a really good one. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is going to be hitting through builds in order to break opponents' walls, floors, and cones. And what this is going to consist of is you're going to hit a wall or whatever, and you're going to use the exploit that you can hit the circle here from further away than normal, as well as you can hit it through things. You may have noticed this before but not really ever thought about it, but you can use this to replace an opponent's wall, to trick them, to make them think you're coming up top. They're going to have switched to roof or cone, and you're going to break that wall and replace it. Then you're going to edit down on them, and they're not going to see it coming. Now you can use this in a couple different ways, so I'll just go over them here. Basically, you can do it, with the wall, boom. You can do it by, you can do it on the floor to replace the floor. And you can do it pretty much any way that you can throw something up in between you and the wall. So do that when you get the chance. You could also do it to a ramp that was inside, like so. Of course, you can't replace it through the wall at that point, but if you already have this and you break that, you can immediately edit through and shotgun them in the face. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is going to be your edit out. So you need to get into a 1x1 and just take the time to learn how to edit out, as well as practicing what you should do when you edit out. So there's all kinds of ways that you could edit out. You could obviously come out and ramp. You could come out and look for the shot. There's many options, and that is what this tip is about. You can edit out the back. You want to make sure that when you can edit out the top. You want to just practice all these edit outs and be ready for when somebody is pressuring you. Now, one extra bonus here is that you want to also be really good at switching your stuff around. Make sure that practice this with both regular ramps and ceiling tiles, because there's all kinds of ways you can take advantage of your opponent. If your opponent, say, has this edit, or even like this, and you're hiding behind a cone, you can actually edit this way, and they can't, if they're standing on this side looking for the shot over here, you can actually shoot them in the legs and they can't even see you. You can do this both ways, obviously. You can do it this way too. So if you're if you pay very close attention and you use that to your advantage, you will have the opportunity to hit your opponent, and well, they can't hit you, which is one of the keys to fighting from the turtle. So that's tip number 3. tip number 4 is that you can destroy the floor before you destroy the cone. Basically you're hitting somewhere around here. Just kind of, you're gonna have to work with this and practice it, but as you can see, the floor sticks out further than the cone does. So obviously you can go for the cone, but you can also go for the floor. And a lot of newer players won't expect this, or players who are more average and just kind of don't have an idea of what you can do. A lot of players go for this on me. It's pretty obvious if you're paying attention. What I would say is, if to prevent this from happening to you, just pay attention to which, whether the cone or the floor is actually taking damage, and that will allow you to know which one they're going for. So that was tip number 4. Now, tip number 5 is going to be kind of multifaceted. It's the 2-layer philosophy. I'm definitely not the person who came up with it. It's kind of an obvious thing, but I think I'm probably going to be the first person to describe it in this way, and that is that you always want 2 layers in between you and your opponent, whether you be inside the 1v1, 1x1 or out. You want to have 2 layers in between you and them if you want to be safe. That way, if they're pressuring you, if they remove one layer, you always have a shot and then an instant way out. And what this will allow you to do is just to always be safe. Obviously that's why, you know, if you're getting shot down on or barreled on from the top, you place the floor and the roof, and if you're being pressured from the outside, the wall and the ramp. Now, one thing I will say, there are some exploits you can do to your opponent. These are not like in-game exploits. These are not like anything fancy, but I will just go ahead and add a couple bonus things. That if someone's breaking your wall, the second that the wall breaks, you can get a shot off. So for example, if I have an opponent, let me go ahead and go grab a weapon and I'll be right back. Alright, so now that I have a weapon, if you have an opponent pressuring you, you just want to get used to the timing of the wall breaking, and if you're ready, you can get a shot off before they actually have time to replace, because they're having to switch, right? So when you're breaking a wall, you are having to take that split second to switch 2 walls, and in that split second you can get off a shot, which will allow you to get a shot on them. Say for example, I'm being pressured here, I hit the shot, they place their wall, I jump up, I place a ramp, and I have options from here. I can either come out the top, I can go out the side, look for a shot, I can just hold, and if they say they edit through there, I can edit through here, just redo a new 1x1, or come up off the top, whatever. You have many options, but the key is to keep to this one is to try to keep 2 layers in between you and your opponent. That way you always have time to react, and you are having the jump on them. If you're losing a lot in the turtle situation, it's probably because they're gaining the advantage. Either you're letting them get a wall and then you're still not having a layer in between you, or you're just, say, missing your shots, you're not quite used to it yet. That could be an issue too. Just practice your angles and stuff. I do want to just talk about a little bit more here beyond the 5 tips. So try to figure out, just go into a creative server and try to figure out what the angles are. Obviously, if you don't know, right hand peeking is always best, because the crosshair is on your right side of your body, so you can actually hit shots a lot better. You expose a lot less going that way. If you're going a left hand peek, I'm already exposed here and I can't even hit the person. So if there was a person right here, they could see me right here, but I can't see them, so they can get a nice solid shot off of me without me even seeing them. So if you were having to peek from this angle, you might want to peek from here, right? If say they're in front of the ramp there, and if they're on that side, from here. So part of the game is kind of knowing the best angles to cut while you're fighting, and knowing which ones are which. Now, something that may happen to you, another bonus if you're still here, is that a lot of people now, when they destroy your wall, instead of walling immediately, they will either they'll destroy the wall and then they'll cone first or ramp and then wall, or they'll get the wall and then cone through it if you don't have yours placed already. So just be wary of that, and that's kind of part of what the two-layer method kind of works on, is always having that second layer. Obviously, you can take your shots, but make sure you get that second layer up. It's not about necessarily having 2 layers in between you. It's about always having one of your layers in between you. So even if it's 2 of theirs, they're going to have to hit 2 edits, but you want to always have at least one way out, one way to get away. One more bonus before we end the video. Basically, okay, so in this situation, you probably know it's incredibly hard to hit this edit, like, properly in the heat of the battle. But all you have to do in order to reset this edit is switch to your walls, look over here. You can look anywhere, and you can do this. You may have seen somebody do it and wondered how they did it. That's how they did it. If you're up here and you edit a wall like this, and you take a shot, all you have to do to bring this back without having to look any funny direction is switch to your walls and reset the edit. So that's about it for this video. Let me know if this helped you in the comments below. You know, if you have any questions, comments, whatever, concerns, if you have any ideas, if anything I said irked you and was wrong in your opinion, let me know why. And you know what I'm saying, share with your friends if this helped you, if you think it was good, and I'll catch you next time. natedizzy out.